Everyone. So yesterday we left off about here. So today's obviously is going to be a little bit smaller of a lecture, just to kind of finish up Unit 1. Everything like the fundamentals of marketing, like everything that you guys really should kind of base all of the marketing decisions that we end up doing throughout the semester and quarter. So with that being said, yesterday I gave you kind of a brief explanation about market segmentation and target marketing. So market segmentation really is the process of classifying people who form a given market into a very small group. So like I had said yesterday, a market is a circle, okay? So if you think about it this way, and I hope you guys can see this pretty well. Erase this. Okay. So a market is a circle, okay? So this is a market. So everyone who has similar abilities, willingness, who need something, and who want it, kind of are part of that entire market, okay? With that being said, this could be part of the car market, okay? So let's just say this is for a market for the cars. However, if you think about it, as you guys probably know, there are a lot of different types of cars, okay? There are sports cars. There are sedans. There are convertibles. There are Jeeps, like things that like the roof might come off. There are SUVs, but there are mid-sized SUVs. There are small SUVs, and there are large SUVs. Okay. There are also very expensive sedans. There are very expensive convertibles. There are very expensive sports cars, but there's also very inexpensive convertibles, SUVs, etc. Okay? So it's important for companies to really understand who specifically is the target market for all of these types of things. Okay? So what market segmentation does, and if you want to think of it this way, it's kind of like a funnel. I don't know if that looks like a funnel, but that's what I did. So if if you're looking at everybody who has the ability, willingness, need, want to buy a car, you also have to recognize that that you can break them down into smaller parts, and that's what market segmentation is. So the way you do that is you break them down in many different ways. You break them down geographically, which is basically like a kind of region. It could be whether or not somebody lives in the city or somebody lives in the suburbs, because in many cases that might make a big difference. So like if you think about it, like if you lived up in northern Maine where there's like a lot of back roads and mountains and things like that, one of the cars that you might not want to buy is a small sports car, or even maybe a convertible. Okay, what you might be looking into is a kind of a mid-sized or a large SUV. You also might be thinking of purchasing something like a truck, okay? So that's why geographics really makes a big difference, so that you can understand who is that person that would be most likely to buy it. So a lot of times big trucks aren't, they recognize that a large population of people that live in the city aren't buying big trucks because there's limited parking, okay? Demographics. And the way I try to make all of you guys remember what it means, like you can always see a word within something. So you can see geography, okay? Demographics is a little bit harder, but at least it begins with a D, and that's description. So it's like the descriptors. So it might be something like age, race, religion, marital status, things like that that kind of define a person. So it's a descriptor or a definition, male, female. It might be, it could even be something like how educated they are, college educated, etc. Okay, so geographic, demographic. The next one is psychographic. Okay, so again, you do this, okay, and it's not psycho, it's your psyche. So it's your kind of your attitudes and values, kind of what makes you you. So like I am very, if you think about it, and it's also about, actually, let me just retract a little bit. It's a lot of times kind of like what influences your behavior a little bit. So, I mean, obviously you guys know I'm a teacher. And so if you think about who I hang around with, we have very similar kind of attitudes and values about things. So in many cases, that influences our buying behavior. I'm very community service oriented. I feel it's really important to do what we can to help each other. I feel even if it's just a small act of kindness. And a lot of times that influences kind of who I am. And the reason why that does is if you know of certain businesses, many businesses are very community oriented too. So they might put out promotions that say things like $1 of every purchase goes towards the Jimmy Fund. When I have that option of making a decision of whether or not I'm going to shop at one store over another or buy one product over another, sometimes that will make a difference, okay? So geographic, demographic, psychographic. And the last is behavioral. And again, I'm going to go into this a little bit more later on. It's actually the next unit, but it's important for you guys to understand how market segmentation works and how you do segment a market. So these are the 4 ways that you segment a market, and I hope you guys can see that. Okay, so basically what ends up happening is you kind of break it down and you put the answers within the funnel. So let's just say geographically it's people who live in the suburbs, which is like a Beverly, Marblehead, Swampscott, there's a lot of residential areas, things like that. Let's just say demographically, it's somebody between, it could be anywhere between 28 and 45. Psychographically, that they are on the go, kind of very busy kind of lifestyle. And behavioral is obviously like behavior is what is motivating the most to purchase something. And for them, it would probably be like maybe like a need for something. Okay, so that is kind of how you break it down. Okay, so what happens is this whole market of all the people who have the ability, the willingness, the need, the want to buy something. You also have to recognize that this descriptor, this grouping, isn't going to end up buying something that the roof comes off. Okay, they aren't going to necessarily buy a well, I was just going to say, so let's see, demographically, 28-45, let's just say they have kids. Okay, so that's their demographic. Okay, and it can be more than this, okay, that they earn $150,000 a year, whatever, whatever the descriptors are, okay? When you break it down, okay, you get kind of an answer. So think of it this way. With math, you would do 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, and it would equal 8, right? Here, you get a person who lives in the suburbs. They are 28 to 45 years old. They have a family. They're always on the go, and they needed a new car, okay? So what you do is you add all of those together, and you get what you call a customer profile, okay? So you get this kind of snapshot of you get a snapshot of who would be the person who's most likely to become a customer. You have identified their specific characteristics. So this ends up being what you call your customer profile, which is the next slide that I'm going to be showing you. And basically, that customer profile ends up becoming your target market. It's the group of people that most likely are the ones who are going to be your customer. And what you do is you end up using that as a way to develop your very specific marketing program, meaning that every promotional strategy that you do is going to be aimed at this, okay? So what you end up doing, so you look at this grouping of people, of all of these things, which ones are they going to be most likely to purchase? So it might be a sedan, depending on the number of kids they have. It might be an SUV. And depending again on the number of kids that they have, it might be a large SUV, it might be a small one, or it might be a mid-sized one. But they're going to need something. They're on the go. They need the space. They need the room. So you have to think about it in that case. So they are not going to be in the market for, again, maybe an expensive car. They might be in the market for a mid-priced car. When you have a lot of kids, you need to be a little bit more frivolous with your money, and you might only be earning maybe $100,000 a year, which as a single person seems like a lot of money, but when you have kids and a family, it's definitely not, okay? So that's kind of how that works. So what you end up doing with that customer profile is it ends up becoming your target market, okay? So what you end up doing with that target market is you take that picture and you put it right in the middle of the bullseye, okay? So there's your little picture, okay? And you put it right in the middle of the bullseye. And what you end up doing is you aim every one of your marketing strategies at that target. So just like a dart, if I were going to throw a dart at the board, I'm going to aim it right for that bullseye. And if I hit that bullseye, it means I did great, okay? So same thing with businesses. You're trying to aim everything that you do at that very specific grouping of people, okay? So it's people that live mostly in the suburbs. It doesn't mean that somebody in the city can't buy this car, but their marketing strategy is going to aim towards the grouping that is most likely the group that's going to buy that, that type of product, okay? So you take your customer profile, you put them in the middle of your bullseye, and you aim every strategy at that bullseye, okay? And if you are off, okay, you're not going to be as successful. So ultimately what that is you have what we call our 4 P's of marketing, or our what we call marketing mix. Marketing mix is the same exact thing as 4 P's, okay? So let me just find that for you guys right here. Okay, the 4 P's of marketing, or let me explain marketing mix first. Marketing mix is the 4 basic marketing strategies. So when we talk about marketing strategies, they're called the marketing mix, okay? And they are your product strategies, your place strategies, your pricing strategies, and your promotional strategies. So the way I think about it is every company has to think of these 4 things all the time. If you're not modifying your product and changing it up, so if you're a business owner and you keep selling the same product year after year after year, eventually people are not going to want to buy your products anymore because they are out of style, they're not trendy, they're kind of old looking, they're outdated. So you always have to change up your product strategies, okay? The pricing strategies, you have to make sure that you are pricing your products the right way, that they're competitive. So you're always looking at who your competitors are and how much people are willing to pay for your products. Place strategies, again, how are you going to let people purchase your product, okay? You can't stay old-fashioned. You need to give people different options. You need to have a website. You need to give people the ability to purchase something beyond coming into a store, especially now with COVID, okay? And then promotional strategies. How are you going to inform people about your products? How are you going to persuade them to purchase your products? So the definition of promotion is inform, persuade, and remind. So if you think about it, have any of you ever purchased a product before, but then you kind of forgot about it? Probably, okay? So with that being said, all of a sudden you see a promotion that reminds you. So what ends up happening is you say, oh my God, I forgot, I loved those cookies, or I loved those kind of, I don't know, cupcakes or whatever it might be. So promotion is designed to inform, persuade, and remind, okay? So the way I think about it is I always do my P's. So, oops, sorry, actually, I make each of these arrows, those are my darts that are aiming at the target, and I make them all into a P. So I remember, hold on, and that's gonna be upside down. Okay, so I make them all into P's, and those are my 4 P's, okay? 1 represents my product strategies. 1 is place, 1 is price, and 1 is promotion, okay? So think about it this way. When you're playing darts and you're playing with someone else who's really, really good, and they hit the bullseye every single time, they win. If you hit it 3 out of the 4 times, you're not going to hit it. You're not going to win. So the same as if you are a business owner. If you have the right types of products, if you price your product correctly, if you have great place strategies, but you inadvertently don't promote it quite the right way, you miss the target. And if you miss the target, people aren't going to know about your product. So though you have a great product and it's priced right and it's placed correctly where people could kind of get a hold of it, if they don't know about the product, if you don't inform them the right way, or you don't persuade them the right way, you're not going to get people to come in and make that purchase, because you have to remember there are a lot of competitors. So competitors, if they're doing it correctly, they're going to be the one that actually hits the bullseye. Okay, so that's kind of, I hope this came across the right way during my video, but that is basically what the marketing mix is. It's the 4 Ps, product, place, price, promotion, and everything that you do under each one of those 4 Ps is what you call your marketing strategies. So you change your product strategies if you are off target. You change your pricing strategies if you are off target. You change your place or promotional strategies if you are off target. And then the last thing I'm just going to, and this is again something that's just a brief explanation of what a promotion is. Again, promotion is a way in which you inform, persuade, or remind people about a product, a service, or an idea. So this just gives you an idea of the different types of promotions. So you have anything from TV ads to newspaper, magazine ads, internet ads, anything that's persuading you to make a purchase. So if you get a rebate, meaning that if you purchase something and you send in like that little UPC symbol that's attached to, when they scan everything. So if you send that in along with your receipt, they will give you back a certain amount of money. So that's what a rebate is. A coupon is something like a percentage off. Other types of promotions might include things like loyalty programs. So when you go to like What's Brewin' here in Beverly, They have what you call like that little punch card loyalty program. So if you have 10 punches, you end up getting a free coffee. Again, that's a way companies get you to come in, and you'll notice different types of loyalty programs with different types of companies. Many just, now with online, like the way they can keep track of what you purchase online and how much you purchase. If, say, for example, you purchase $100, every time you purchase $100 worth of products at the store, they'll give you a 20% coupon. That could be a loyalty program. Stop and Shop is affiliated with certain gas stations. And so when you use your Stop and Shop card, it gives you what you call gas points. So, and then every time you purchase and the more money you spend, the more gas points you get. So you can get up to, I think it's 80 cents off a gallon, up to 20 gallons. So you end up saving like $15 in gas. So that's a type of promotion, okay? That's kind of a loyalty type of promotion, okay? And we will go over all the types of promotions a little bit further in, but so basically promotions are anything from advertising to personal selling, sales promotions, which are kind of similar to the rebate and the coupons. So promotion is just a way, again, informing, persuading, reminding. All right, and I'm going to give you these answers, but, actually, I'm not giving you these answers, but what products or services being promoted, and I don't know what the prompting question was, so I'm going to actually skip this because there's no prompting question. But that's it. So we have finished Unit 1, and hopefully you guys are all getting it. And I will stop right now, and we will chat about it a little later on. Have a great one. Bye, guys.